there's been points where I've been broken so much that I thought I wouldn't be able to get back up. But God still gives me breath at the end of the day. And the way I approach the business is the way I approach the brain tumor situation. Yes, it was bad. I mean, to lose your ability to speak and to move and all these things, but I had breath. And so, it's been broken. So how do we go about repairing?
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Bursey, and today I'm joined by someone I've really been looking forward to chatting with, Bryan Chavis, who's been making serious moves in the multifamily and property management sector, but he is specifically known as the leader in the landlord entrepreneurship space. Today, we're heading down to the 813 to the heart of Tampa, Florida, to sit down with a man whose story is as much about grit as it is about real estate. For years, he's been a titan of the industry, an author, coach, and the mastermind behind systems that have revolutionized the way we look at investments. But his greatest victory didn't happen at the closing table. A few years ago, Bryan faced his toughest negotiation yet, a battle for his life against a brain tumor. Not only did he fight back, but he returned to the industry with a renewed mission and vision sharper than ever before. He is the living definition of unstoppable. Please welcome the pride of Tampa and the man who proves that resilience is the ultimate asset, Bryan Chavis. Welcome to the show, Bryan.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. It's good to be here.
Let's dive in, shall we?
Absolutely.
Bryan, I must say it's an absolute honor to have you here. You've built an incredible legacy, but the world moves fast, especially in the 813. For those just joining your journey, let's set the stage. Where is your fire centered right now? And what's the main vision on your radar these days?
Yeah, great question. Great question. My main focus right now, everything involves the ecosystem of real estate. So everything I do, individuals might look at what I do as you have your hands in multiple things. But there's I don't want to say a genius. There's a strategic reasoning behind everything I do revolves around property management, being a landlord, the multifamily space. It involves that ecosystem of owning and operating rental investment property. So whether it be software, whether it be designing curriculum, whether it be consulting for public housing authorities or consulting for a hedge fund or whatever, it all revolves around the same space and kind of requires the same brain cells. So I don't really see it as it's diversification on the same subject matter. So, I'm blessed to be able to kind of lend these talents to multiple areas that God has blessed me with. And we all have multiple talents. Nobody has just one or two talents. We all are blessed with given talents. It's just our job to be able to polish those talents and to and to structure our time wisely to allow us to be able to do multiple things. So I thank my family for that ability. I thank the dear Lord for giving me the breath and the insight. And so yeah, right now my main focus is being able to serve the affordable housing, what I consider a crisis on many fronts. And how do I serve that? I see there's, look at it like a strategic, battlefield, or you look at it like a game. If those who love football, whether it be basketball, a sport, you're looking at, where your opposition's weaknesses are, where your opportunities maneuver. How can you maneuver fast? How can you get to certain areas? Um, quickly, maneuver resources to those areas. And what I mean by areas, whether it be affordable housing, whether it be actual, projects that we're acquiring, whether it be consulting, property management software developing, deal analyzer software developing, whatever it might be. How do you lend your resources and tools, and how do you develop resources and tools to serve others? And that's the key, is understanding that whatever it is that I'm going to talk to you about is first, I figure out how to serve others, and then it's from serving others, how am I able to carve out something and serve myself and serve those that are a part of my team?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
What great words of wisdom. And that's been a real winning recipe. Caring about the needs of others, serving, as you put it. That's outstanding. What markets are you operating in right now?
The southeast. So right up the east from New York all the way down to to the tip of Florida. All the way down to Key West. We're always looking for those opportunities. And as I was stating to you previously, for me, my main focus to this point hasn't necessarily been on the real estate side. I've done our last project in downtown St. Pete, an apartment building I acquired and then recently sold. And since selling, the focus has been on developing again skating to where I think the puck is going. Just understanding the impact of AI, understanding where I think the Section 8 program is going, affordable housing programs are going, voucher programs are going. I think the scope of the demographic that participates on these programs is going to widen due to AI. So being able to skate to those areas and reinforce those areas with what I think is the next generation in resources and tools, and being able to define what that means is very difficult with AI, because you have to be careful when you're talking about developing tools that you're not developing tools that AI can do, like underwriting tools. You don't necessarily, you see people still trying on social media or whatever it might be, trying to sell you a Excel spreadsheet. And it's like, I can sit there and have a conversation with ChatGPT and do a due diligence and underwriting. I don't need a spreadsheet. So you have to be careful of the type of tools that you develop. You're still going to need tools, but those tools need to have outputs that lend to other output, or lend to other tools that will then lend to another output that moves you along what is known as, think of it like Henry Ford's conveyor belt system. It moves you along the conveyor belt. So it helps you identify markets. It helps you underwrite markets. It helps you onboard into a management system, and then it helps you, so there's various different stages of the assembly line, and I've missed a few with the lending and the due diligence process. So there's a lot in between that each AI is going to touch and help enhance. But there's things that you have to understand when dealing with AI, is that one person could be saying what I'm saying, and I still be way more effective than that person because I know how to prompt better than that person. because the knowledge up here of 30 years of being in the industry, I know how to prompt. Just like I think you said, Bryan, you're a great communicator, a great leader. Well, in this current format of vibe coding and things of that nature with AI, you still have to be a great communicator in order to develop AI, because the AI is still going to need you to create prompts in order for it to go out to do the work. So if my prompting skills are better than yours, which means, as you said, I'm more articulate and more in depth on a subject matter, that tool or that resource or that conveyor belt that I'm developing is going to be more in depth. It's going to have more outputs. And the outputs, because any AI can give you data and give you an answer, but the output has to lead to something that's going to, like I say, move you along a conveyor belt. So you're going to analyze your property, but then it needs to move directly into a management software. And then it needs to move into day-to-day operations and help you develop a management plan to manage and operate that property, with the proper budgets and systems and things of that nature. So it's a conveyor belt that must move, and you have to think through that whole process. And AI is, there's still some moats around that, and what some limitations around that. So just understanding the type of tools to develop is where I am, developing those tools, and then attaching those tools to these partnerships that I have with the public housing authorities, who have a lag when it comes to technology. So there's a distinctive lag with a lot of government agencies as it relates to technology. So think of it like they're still using, and I'm not saying this, and if you're with the public housing authority, please don't take this as a negative, not, but most are still operating as if they're using rotary phones and pagers. It's just an analogy for you to understand and give an idea of a timeline on how far they are behind what you might think is where they should be as far as AI is concerned. So most are just kind of understanding AI. Have they implemented it into day-to-day operations? No, most have not. 90% have not. And so it's like taking these resources to them, providing them these resources, and then also not providing these resources to your average landlord. And you must understand that your average landlord is not an institutional grade investor. Your average landlord, probably 85 to 90% of your landlords participating on affordable housing programs would be considered mom to pop, 1 to 4 units. So they're not using the latest and greatest in technology. Some are still using a spreadsheet, if at all. And so it's being able to introduce these individuals to a franchise type of business model, or is there an ecosystem that acts as a franchise model? And what I mean by franchise, giving someone all the tools, resources, education, training that they need, like a franchise model. And so that is kind of the platform that I've been focusing on building and developing. And then, like I said, keeping it ahead of AI and skating to where I think the puck is going has been the challenge and the adventure for me.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Thank you for that perspective. What caught my attention about you is the clarity you seem to have now, Bryan. It feels like navigating that health crisis didn't just test you, it refined your entire approach to business and leadership. That requires a level of surgical precision that most people just haven't developed in the shifting economic climate. What's the unshakable pillar in your system that allows this machine to scale without breaking, even when the market gets volatile?
That's another great question. So first, it's always breaking. There is no navigating or scaling without breaking. It's just like there's no going to the gym without tearing muscle down and rebuilding it. So, there is no muscle. There is no muscle at the end of the day. So the fallacy or the thought that what I'm doing and scaling, it doesn't require breaking, wouldn't be truthful to you or your audience. It's breaking every day. But it's understanding that that process is the process that is necessary in order to continue to move forward and to have a much stronger product or reaching your goal. You have to have the continuous breaking down. Now, with that being said, the resilience of not giving up during those continuous breakdowns, because you have a period where most give up because they have 4 to 5 continuous breakdowns. Typically those breakdowns impact these individuals financially. And so that's why they quit or they give up or they're wiped out. And I can't say that that's not happened to me. It's happened where you have to bootstrap, you've thrown money at something and it doesn't work out. I mean, this is development. What I'm doing, this portion of technology, you're talking about a person that has a high school diploma and that's it. And they gave me that because I damn near was timing out with that turning 19. It's either you go to work for the school or you're going to have to graduate eventually. So, so my point is that, I'm not someone that's brilliant. I'm not someone that's got a ton of degrees. And now I'm a tech entrepreneur. And so I had to learn how to do this. So obviously with learning how to do something, you're breaking and you're building, you're breaking and you're building, you're breaking and you're building. And you need to know that moving forward. And most individuals need to understand that at the end of the day, there's been points where I've been broken so much that I thought I wouldn't be able to get back up. But God still gives me breath at the end of the day. And the way I approach the business is the way I approach the brain tumor situation. Yes, it was bad. I mean, to lose your ability to speak and to move and all these things, but I had breath. And so, it's been broken. So how do we go about repairing? And so you go about repairing one step at a time, one process at a time. And so I wish it was something more Tony Robinson, motivational, walking on fire and all the, that I had to deliver. I don't have that a gift. I'm not a Tony Robbins. I can't really motivate your audience maybe the way he can. But I can tell you that, as you have pointed out, I have faced the worst. Physical, financial. I faced the worst. I've steered it down and I've battled it with less resources than most men. And I'm still here and I've been able to accomplish and build what I've built and have these partnerships with government agencies. You don't see experts and gurus and, you see a lot of people talk about they're experts in real estate and they're experts in this or they're experts in that. And I'll point out and I'm pointing this out because you mentioned something and I'm trying to bring context to it.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
There's a lot of folks out there that will say they're an expert, but very few people build something and have government agencies partner with them. Very few people write a book and find it in the U.S. Library of Congress. There's only 4 books on the subject matter of property management and real estate investing in our entire U.S. Library of Congress, and I'm one of the 4. So my point is that, I'm not talking and I'm not speaking. And again, this is not motivation. I'm telling you what I know. I'm not telling you something that I've heard. So I give you my context or I give you a bit of my resume only to bring you back to the point of, well, I've been destroyed. I've been brought to my knees, possibly even lower. But I have been able to accomplish all these things. And it's through no special gifts. It's through faith in God. And it's through the ability, as I said, to try to just simply put one foot in front of the other and keep moving towards servicing others. And I think when you understand that what it is you're building is helping to service others, it gives you your North Star. It gives you, it guides your compass. And that is what keeps you getting up. And then the possibility and the opportunity that lies beyond that for you and your family, that is selfish motivation for me. It was once said, greed is good if you work to satisfy it. There's nothing wrong with being greedy if you work to satisfy it. So I do have selfish motivations. Have very selfish motivations, but those motivations are behind servicing others. And so when you have that alignment, I think your compass and your North Star, it enables you to, when things go wrong, to put one foot in front of the other.
We all wake up in the morning with the opportunity to do things right. And Bryan, you're walking the right path. Now, every operator I know has a moment where things got real. Maybe a deal that went sideways or a time that they had to pivot fast. You mind sharing one of those moments with us?
Absolutely. Like everyone else, what was that, 2008, 7? I did a project. It was actually affordable housing project. Again, bring me back, but that question brings me back to the depth where all this comes from. But yeah, it was an affordable housing 2008 that we lost because we just couldn't, maintain the rents. And even with Section 8, we bought in correctly. It was young. I was ambitious in my career, overconfident, and that overconfidence allowed me to not pay attention to what I was taught in the multifamily industry. Because you remember prior to this, I spent, a decade or a little over 10 years managing and operating in the multifamily industry, thousands of rental units. And a lot of the fundamentals that I learned, because I was excited and greedy and ambitious, overlooked the COTA process that I went on to coin: strategic evaluation of target area, scrutinizing building permit activities, average household incomes, mortgage interest rates, demographics and psychographics. Demographics tells you who they are. Psychographics tells you why. And that who and why is the prospect tenant. Understanding their needs, understanding what they will command in rent, and then doing your underwriting based on that, and then building out your management plan based on that. I forewent all of that. Thought I seen an opportunity. It made sense visually. It made sense in my gut, and I needed to do something. And because everybody else was doing something, and something meaning putting something under contract, and so I rushed and lost because I didn't do the COTA process. The things that I teach now, I didn't do, and ended up losing big. And that's just one of the real estate related areas that I've lost. I've lost big in other areas, but I can tell you this: every time I've lost or done something incorrectly, it's when I went against the foundation of the training, or when I went against what I know is the proper training and the proper protocol to do. So every time you lean on your own understanding or your own intentions or your own, and pride gets in the way. And pride can come in many forms where it's like, oh no, you don't need to do, you don't need to dot your I's and cross your T's. Forget about inspecting what you expect. You can overlook it this time. You've got the resources, you got the tools, you got the team. So every time I've thought like that and allowed pride to get into the driver's seat, is usually when the recipe of when what is that? When you do the autopsy on the disaster, that's typically the underpinning result is that I went away from my fundamentals of knowledge and training that I received and went on my own prideful my instincts, whatever you want to call it. It's all pride at the end of the day, and it can lead you down to a dark path, so.
That's the real world grit right there, everybody. And that usually gets left on the cutting room floor, quite frankly. Thank you for sharing that, Bryan. Most people want the highlight reel, but you're giving us the actual blueprint for the trenches. And honestly, that's the barrier to entry for the elite. It's what separates the weekend hobbyists from the career operators who are still standing a decade from now. Let me ask you this. What are you most focused on solving or scaling next?
The technology, the platform that we built by BRP Education, moving it from just a book to now the educational platform that it is. That full resource for a community, and I might add a free community. So all these tools, resources, property management software, the deal analyzer, all the rent reasonableness, the BRP, buy rent profit match program that matches you with the Section 8 tenant as a landlord. All these tools and resources are 100% free, thanks to our sponsors like Suncoast Credit Union, Lake Michigan Credit Union, and a lot of our other sponsors. It makes the platform free, and I think that's something that also separates me. Because there's a lot of people that will talk, oh, I'm an expert, I'm a guru, and then they want $35,000 and again, I'm not knocking anyone's hustle, but I don't have to ask you for a dime if, nor take a dime from you, nor did I want to, did I think that when God gave me this vision, that wasn't his intention. His intention was to level the playing field and provide these tools and resources to all. And if I wasn't smart enough to figure out a way to monetize that without charging the end user, that mom and pop landlord who's probably already struggling with the 1 to 4 units to make ends meet. And then now I want 15,000 for me to teach them something or to learn something. That never sat well. Now a government agency want to pay me that kind of money, fine, because they have grant money, they have allocated money for that. But those individuals that are coming to a 3-day boot camp thinking they're going to learn something, again, I'm not knocking these gurus. And if I am and I've offended you, I'll be more than glad to debate you on any stage. Because if you really are an expert and you really have this knowledge, I've never been one to think that I should charge certain individuals for it. So will I charge a company for it? Yes. Will I charge that mom and pop or someone that wants to learn over a 3-day period? No, yeah, it's just never, for me personally, has ever sat well with me. So for me, focusing on building something, but then also making it accessible for everybody, because I mean, there's no shock to your viewers. I don't know if you're listening to this or if you're visually, but if you ever Google who I am, you'll clearly see that I am not what you normally see. If you walk to your bookstore and you go to the shelves, you're not going to see too many minorities on the bookshelf talking about real estate investing and property management. I can promise you, I'm out of the 1 or 4 books that are in the U.S. Library of Congress on this subject matter, I'm the only minority. So I say that only to get to this particular point, is that this type of knowledge has always been a disadvantage to somebody coming from where I came from. It was never accessible. This knowledge was never given. This was for, a certain elite group. And so I've always had a chip on my shoulder with saying, okay, well, if you're going to get this knowledge, now I'm keeping it, and now I'm going to charge you $30,000 or $40,000. And again, you're well within your right if that's what you want to do, and that's your business model. That just never sat comfortable with me learning it, and I learned it for free. I mean, of course, I had to learn it through the industry. It wasn't for free. I put my time in and my resources. But again, I'm just telling you personally the conviction that's on my heart, that I felt some kind of way every time you charge big. Not that I haven't in the past, but I just felt like, okay, now that I can build this and now that I can scale this and I can bring in these sponsors. So Home Depot and Lowe's, if you're out there and you're listening, we'd love to have you. But the more we can attract these bigger sponsors that want to get in front of our landlords and get in front of this audience of the housing authorities, they pay, but the user doesn't have to pay. Like social media. Well, how has Meta become a $1 billion company and they don't charge? How much do you pay for your Facebook? Nothing. How much do you pay for your Instagram? Nothing. Why? They get paid because of the eyeballs they command. So I figured, why can't I do the same thing? And why can't I make all these tools and resources and knowledge free for everybody? That 1 to 4 unit, the guy that has a 20-unit apartment building, a 40-unit apartment building, the non-institutional guy. Your listeners. If I can't make everything and hand it to them where they can have access to it, the only thing they have to give me is their survey. I ask for a survey every 30 days. Types of properties they're investing. Just surveys. And that data is what I use to sell and curate to the Home Depots, insurance, the credit unions, and putting them in front of you and then giving them the data. That's it. That's how I get paid. That is how this whole ecosystem works. That's been my focus.
Definitely called, but Bryan, you haven't resisted that calling.
I have resisted several. I resist almost on a daily basis God's calling. I'm no different. I'm probably worse than I am. So I probably frustrate the dear Lord more than anybody. So I resist, and I'm always catching myself trying to lean on my own understanding, because everything I do is not according to his timeline. Everything I do, I think that it needs to happen in my timeline. So I'm always struggling. So I'm always questioning. So I'm always doubting. Every day I wake up, I'm up at 3:00 every morning. And I'm having the vast majority of the conversations. I have gotten so fed up with that process that of me resisting, that I wake up now just simply try for an hour to give thanks and praise for the things I have. The health, Don't worry about the timeline of all these things that need to happen and whether this money's coming in and whether this, because I get caught up in the timeline, then I get frustrated and I get angry at the source. So I try to make sure that I'm thankful. I give praise for the family. I give praise for my wonderful wife and my beautiful children and their health and their safety when they're at school, and that the Lord has brought me through this brain tumor struggle. And, and yes, do I still have headaches? And yes, do I still? Absolutely. But like Paul, it's a thorn in my side to keep me humbled and to remember where I've come from, too. And so I have to give thanks to so this is a struggle that I deal with on a daily basis. So I don't want you to think, or your listeners or viewers to think, that I've been called and that I listen. I have been called and I do not listen more than I listen. I am just a man of flesh and blood, and I make more mistakes in one day than most of your listeners do probably in 3 days. So I just wanted to make sure we had clarity to that. I'm sorry, but I just am not comfortable with anyone leaving thinking that I don't struggle, or I listen to the Lord and I go, well, maybe is that really God talking to me, or is that, so, and it doesn't match up with my timeline, then it doesn't work for me. And that's the biggest struggle that I have, that I battle and have these conversations in my head with the Lord about timelines. And so I struggle with the same thing your listeners struggle with right now.
Thank you for that open transparency, that real authentic viewpoint. That's critical. And that next move is where the leverage lives, quite frankly. It can either perfect your operations or detonate your workflow, depending on the strategy that you deploy. Interested to know, Bryan, if you were starting over today with 50K, let's say, and 10 years of experience, but zero portfolio, what's the first lead gen channel you'd turn on?
Your questions are really good. I appreciate your questions. Your question answers itself. Your question is the reason why I guess I'm here. Your question is the reason why we Buy It, Rent It, Profit exists. Because where do you go? That leads me back to that franchise business model. So I would look for something that allowed me access to everything I needed in one place. Community, number one, right? Number two, tools and resources. Number three, that conveyor belt that moved me along. They didn't just give me this knowledge and then drop me off, and then I got to go somewhere else to search for this piece and that piece. And where can I go to get everything in one? And then I also have the community of vendors and resources around me to insulate me to when I needed it, the plumber, I needed the banker, I needed the lender, whatever, the insurance. I can access in one place. And that's why Buy It, Rent It, Profit Education was developed, for that various reason. That's where I would go. I would go to what I've developed, Buy It, Rent It, Profit.
And you already hit home on the AI as well.
Yeah, and incorporating it. I came up with a slogan the other day. This will be the first time I use it. So if it's messed up, forgive me. Maybe the next time me and you have a conversation, it'll be much more streamlined. But Buy It, Rent It, Profit. The word profit, what is the opposite of the word profit? Poor, right? An acronym of poor, I heard the other day, was the acronym of poor is passing over opportunities repeatedly. And so I would say, go ahead.
That's the title of your book, is it not?
Buy It, Rent It, Profit. Correct. And so the opposite of profit is poor. And how do we avoid being poor? What do we do to remain being poor? Is we continuously pass up opportunities repeatedly. And so that's why Buy It, Rent It, Profit is the opportunity I think you shouldn't pass up. Number one, it's free. So to be the opposite of poor moving forward in the future, to profit, I think is that opportunity, is to find that ecosystem. So what would Bryan Chavis have done if he had to start over? I would start a free profile and I would use those tools and resources. And I don't even need $50,000, because that's the cool thing about this. I would tell you, anytime, anything you ever hear from me, I'm going to always tell you to keep your money. So if you have $50,000, you need to put that money away, and you need to build a business or a model or your knowledge to be able to leverage that without you having to use that. But if you had to use it in this day and age, you then buy a duplex and buy a quad. I just released a podcast or a blog about how to become a Section 8 landlord and why I think the importance of that. And certainly you can do that with that 50,000. But I would still try to figure out a way to to minimize how much of that $50,000 you use to get started with anything. I don't want you using your cash. I'd rather you figure out ways to use your knowledge, use your intellect, and use your intestinal fortitude to develop and build. And you can do all of those things with 5% down. And if you're a veteran, you can do 0% down. There's a lot of DSCR loans that are out there that can help you get started with 0% down. It's based on the strength of the rent, of the rent schedules of the asset. So there's so many solutions that are out there that allow you to maintain that $50,000 and leverage against it
Point well
to
taken.
get started.
Very well taken, and an excellent point. Now, I know a lot of our audience is either earlier in their journey or looking to level up, and I think they'd benefit from hearing this. When it comes to building relationships and growing your network, what's made the biggest difference for you, Bryan?
Authenticity. Again, I think the secret is the simplicity. So everything you ask me, I'm always kind of seems like I'm always saying the same thing, being of service to others. So if you just keep it simple, authenticity
Sure.
and being of service to others, all the rest works itself out. Your ability to have a good, strong network, your ability to attract those individuals to you into your ecosystem, that will one allow you to help them, and then for them to be of service to you. But I think going into everything you do being service minded, very difficult because our DNA says we got to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first before we put it on others. That's what our gut says in all situations. But I find that situation is only relative if you are in a plane going down. Any other time, you should put the oxygen mask on someone else and lift your brother or your sister up. And that means I don't care. And I say brother and sister, I mean all. And not necessarily, I don't care what they look like. You can be black, white, orange, green, yellow. There's so much division right now, and everything has to be this political vibe, or you have to be this, you have to be a part of this group in order you have to be. And I'm saying, no, you don't, you don't, you don't. Come one, come all. It's being of service to your brother, to your sister. And we're, to me, I think we're all a part of that family without getting too, sappy. We're, it's one it's one family. And, just figuring out ways to be of service to your community is the key principle.
Those are real words. Those are genuine words. That's about as authentic as a person can be. Bryan, at this level of the game, proximity is power. The math of the deal only gets you so far. It's the depth of our connections that determines who actually gets to the closing table. All right, before we wrap,
Absolutely.
if someone wanted to reach out, connect with you, maybe collaborate or learn more about what you're doing, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Again, right on the platform, it's free. So, and I answer and respond is brpedu.com, BRP, buy it, rent it, profit, edu, education. So brpedu.com. You can reach out to me right there, set up a free profile. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me if you just type in Bryan Chavis. And then my email is Bryan, Bryan, at brpedu.com.
Bryan, this has been a masterclass in every sense of the word. I'm walking away inspired, not just by your business systems, but by your absolute grit. Thank you for your time and your incredible story. It's been a privilege.
Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate you.
And though, for those of you tuning in, if you got value from this, make sure you're subscribed. We have more conversations coming up with operators just like Bryan, who are out there building real businesses. We'll see you in the next episode, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.